Uh, Thank you, everyone. So overall, we welcome the budget, and this is something which is in continuation of the government. What they have been doing over the past few years, uh, starting with the capex. So it is expected that out of the 11.11 lakh crore, they will be spending around 10.18, and for next year they have announced an capex of 11.20 lakh crore. So though in comparison to the budget, it's not an increase, but in comparison to the actual spend, if we see, it's a 10% increase. So I think that's the continuation in the capex is a good sign. Apart from that, in the area of manufacturing, make in India, lot of announcement has been done, though we have to wait for the details. National manufacturing mission has been announced, I think, which is a very welcome thing, though we need to look at the details. Export promotion mission again has been announced, which will certainly, both this will help. Lot of announcement for the MSMEs, which will again help in the area of manufacturing. uh, in some of the labor intensive areas like toys, tourism, footwear, leather, the government has announced some initiatives. Again, we need to wait for the details to exactly say, but all these are in the positive direction. uh, Overall, the fiscal prudence, they have continued, from 4.8% deficit, they are targeting 4.4%, I think, which is again a good sign, and that is what was expected. I think one of the big highlight has been the reduction in the tax rate, and basically the exemption from which was there till 7 lakh, that being increased to 12 lakh. I think that's a good sign, and that will give in a lot of money in the hand of the middle class, and which should help consumption and overall benefit the economy. Some announcement on the rural and agriculture front also. In 100 districts, the government is planning to focus, which will help 1.7 crores farmers, and also the high yielding seeds. So overall, it seems quite good for the farming and the rural areas. I think that again, since a large population is in the rural areas, that should also boost the economy. Lot of announcement in the area of ease of doing business, starting reducing number of rates in TDS, even in TCS, some announcement, new income tax laws, where they have announced it will be half in terms of size and much simplifier to understand for everyone. So that's also a very welcome move. Jan Vishwas Bill 2, where 100 provisions has been decriminalized. Transfer pricing simplification, reduction of numbers of surcharge and cess, I think that's again a welcome move. Related party transactions deregulation, in where a high level committee will be formed. So lot of such announcement in the area of ease of doing business, which will certainly help the industry and the business to, in fact, it might help in the overall investment cycle. Even in the area of footwear, leather, and tourism, because those are employment intensive industries, so government has focused there, so that will help in boosting the employment. Overall, a good budget from FICCI's perspective, and we welcome the budget. I would request anybody, Anant, Vijay, Suprakant, anybody to add something.
No, I second what Harsh has shared. I think great focus on job creation. I think whether it is focus on job intensive sectors like footwear, toys, tourism, focus on MSMEs. Harsh has covered already the manufacturing sector benefits that have been included. Fair amount of focus on future sectors, EVs, clean energy, nuclear energy, electronics were the areas where the government is focusing on. Simplification of direct and indirect taxes, which makes again ease of doing business easier, and an underlying benefit of or an underlying focus of sustainability and technology that we saw across the board. So while it was not necessarily explicitly maintained, but again, clean tech, EVs, handicrafts all reflect sustainability. And on the technology side, there was mention of, say, Industry 4.0, use of paperless way of working, DPI in some cases. So all of that is also a great positive to see going across the board.
Yes, I would agree. I think the focus on fiscal consolidation is a big positive for the country overall. I think the fiscal prudence is a path that this government has embarked on and is not deviated from, which is a great achievement and sends a big signal externally to the credit rating agencies and to people outside. I'd like to emphasize the focus on exports and the Bharat Trade Net. I think that would be a big positive, especially with a slight slowdown in exports. I think this will certainly be a big positive, as also the focus on building global capability centers in tier 2 cities. I think this will bring. There's a lot of focus on rural in the budget, and I think this will also whether it's outside the big metros. I think there is a big push from the budget perspective. Doctor, also like to highlight the focus on rationalization of the 7 tariff rates. While it may seem simple, I think it's a very, very major step in continuing ease of doing business. Right now, the rates are too many, and this is a very, very major step. And I think the FMs, we have to get into the details, but we remember her saying there's only going to be one cess or one surcharge. I think that's again a big step in simplification of in the indirect taxes side. A lot of focus on the marine sector, whether it's shipbuilding, leasing, ship leasing in the IFSC. I think again a sector that has got a lot of potential in India. I think also extension of tonnage tax to inland ships. I think she's brought a lot of emphasis on perhaps a slightly neglected sector which has got a lot of potential as far as India goes. Overall, I think excellent budget, continuing on the path of fiscal reform.
So just carrying on with the points which have been addressed by the president and other senior members here. I think it's an excellent budget which really ticks all the boxes. Most importantly, putting money in the hands of people. We are all aware and have talked about the slight blip in terms of consumption, and this is most certainly going to give a significant boost to that. The other line for me which stood out in the budget was the statement that reforms as a fuel. I think we had a precursor of that in the economic survey which was released yesterday, and clearly while the finance minister has announced sort of a 1-year time frame to go deep into regulatory reforms. But I think the statement about strengthening trust-based regulations is music to all our ears, if I can put it that way. Apart from that, again, being from the manufacturing sector, let me just reiterate the focus on manufacturing is extremely welcome. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that India cannot grow without the manufacturing sector doing well. So the National Manufacturing Mission for labor-intensive sectors and the focus on manufacturing, especially with clean tech and MSME, I think stands out. But the articulation of what are the focus areas, which is value addition, supporting domestic manufacturing, promoting exports, and addressing duty inversion. So one will obviously have to look into the details as soon as the papers are released. But I think it's a comprehensive attempt at providing impetus to growth. All of that while assuring, while sticking to a fiscal glide path, which I think is what lends credibility to this whole exercise.
So I would just add that the entire focus on demand labor-intensive industries, and reducing the compliance burden. We see that across the tariffs, whether it's customs, income tax rates, the desire to just make the individual and company ease of doing business levels less criminalized, more compliance, and just more trust based, I think are very important themes which have actually seen reiteration across many aspects of what this budget has brought. I would just also add that the whole area of urban infrastructure got mentioned, which cannot be ignored. There was specifically the carrying forward of the Jal Jeevan mission, because what the government has achieved there is great. There's always a worry that they move on and forget about what has been achieved and moved on to something else. But there's continuing of the Jal Jeevan mission, which was announced. The Urban Challenge Fund, with 1 lakh crore allocation for city growth, water and sanitation initiatives, underscores the importance of sustainable urbanization. The budget's emphasis on broadband connectivity at the primary health level, these are all very significant in terms of ensuring health and welfare of our people. And that has also, I think, been very effectively underwritten. On the financial sector, I would have hoped to see a little bit more, and maybe it's there in the fine print, on supporting our debt markets. But there is mention of taking forward the centralized KYC depository, which therefore makes compliance again easier across institutional banks and, of course, individual level. The FDI on insurance, which has been awaited being increased to 100%, is again an advantage. And I think just a focus on putting more money in the hands of people always helps the capital markets.
Are there any questions? All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll now individually take the panels and the interactions.